I'm Dave Lowe, I'm the sales trainer, part of Automotive Sales Coach. This is Chris. He's filming us for All Prosperity today. He's a career car guy. He used to work at Button, if you don't know him, but we appreciate being here today. We're going to give you some tips today on how to be even better than we are. We have a dealership that has great success and is doing a great job. And like all pros, what do we always want to be trying to do? Become better. So we've got to have strategies. How do we constantly remain at the top and push ourselves to become better? We're going to talk about some of those today. The first thing I want to ask you is this. How many of you guys believe the world is screwed up? I know you're eating, but with your free hand, raise your hand if you believe the world is. So when we screwed up, what do we mean? Well, I've got an article here. I was on vacation and it rained like this for 6 days. I went on a motorcycle vacation. I bought a new mountain bike, took my motorcycle, went down to Smoky Mountains to ride the Tail of the Dragon. Anybody heard of the Tail of the Dragon, right? Okay. And then the parkway through North Carolina. That's supposed to be the most beautiful ride you could take, and it rained for 6 days. So in the motorhome, I ended up watching some TV on my phone, and I saw this news report. Tell me if you guys heard about this. Man threatens to call police on girl at lemonade stand. You guys hear that? Yeah, here's the story. Some little girl opened up a lemonade stand selling lemonade, and one of the neighbors threatened to turn her in because she didn't have a permit to be operating. Right? So if you didn't think the world was screwed, when you heard something like that, doesn't that make you go, really? But then when you think about it, you say it makes sense in this world. So tell me if you see the world like this. I see it as selfish, what we might call narcissistic. People are like focused on who only? Themselves. Selfish, self-righteous. Everybody thinks they're right and everybody else is wrong. Judgmental, impatient, impolite. Who sees the world like that? Right? Is that what it seems out there? Let me ask you guys something. Who sees themselves like that sometimes? Right? Isn't that the truth? The world is made up of people. We're people, right? They say people are stupid, but a person is smart. What's that mean? You always look at TV, oh, people are so stupid. But then you're sitting with people next to them and you say, but that person is smart, right? So we're talking about culture on the whole, but isn't it true that all of us sometimes are self-righteous, judgmental, impolite, impatient, right? Anybody feel that? All right. Guys, today we want to help you become better. There's a saying out there, Marcus Aurelius said, examine all men, but most of all, examine who? Examine yourself. In other words, be the change you want to see. Nothing changes until the person takes responsibility. People can't change until the person takes responsibility, right? Becomes better. So, guys, get your handouts here out like this. I want to show you a couple things on here, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you 5 techniques to become better today than you were yesterday. But we'll start with this handout here. Everybody got one of those? Let's get some over here for you. I want to point, guys, to this pie graph on here. You guys see the graph on here? This shows the 3 major components. In this room, we have sales team, don't we? Stand up if you're part of the sales team. Sales managers, BDC department, salesmen, Ivan, just joking. That's that, right? Part of the sales part, right? These guys are responsible for selling cars. All right, well, we only a few of them. Great job. Thanks, sit down. How about service? Who's part of service? Technicians, service managers, body shop guys, service, right? Taking care of the cars after the sale. How about support staff? Who's part of support staff? Right here. Office, BDC, sales and support, right? Who else part of it? Taking pictures, support staff, right? Guys, do we need everybody here to do our job? We're going to talk a little about interdependence before we move on, but I want us to start with this. Everybody who's sitting here has one job. All of our jobs are different. We're sales, service, support, but we all have one common job description. I'd like you guys to pay attention. See what it says our job up here? Our job. I'll let everybody finish chewing what they're chewing. I was talking to you, no. Because we're gonna read this together. Our job. I'll start it off, guys, and indulge me a little bit. I want you to read it out loud. I'm going to start with our job, and let's the rest of us start reading with the 2, okay? Ready? Our job is to Create excited, loyal, lifetime customers and employees profitably. Who would agree that that's their job? Whose job in the dealership isn't that? But let's talk about all three things. Excited, loyal, lifetime customers. Do we need those? What happens if we don't have loyal, lifetime customers? What if they buy one car or service with us once and never come back? What happens to our business? How about excited, loyal, lifetime employees? What happens if we have a constant turnover and we never develop any longevity in employees, any quality employees? What happens if we don't have excited, loyal, lifetime employees? What happens to our customer base if the employees aren't here to take great care of them? Right? Let me ask you this. What happens if we have happy customers and happy employees, but there's no profit? What happens to the dealership? What happens to all businesses without profit? They go away. So guys, can you see that all three things are important? We need to have excited, loyal, lifetime customers. Just as important, and some may say more important, excited, loyal, lifetime employees. And those two things together create what? Profitability. You guys with me? So we're talking about what we're seeing is an interdependence between departments, right? We stand and we fall together. Now, interdependence, what do I mean? Let me give you a description of interdependence. And to do that, let's talk about dependence, right? When you're a child, you're dependent, right? What are you saying? I depend on what? Somebody else. You do for me. You feed me. You take care of me. I'm dependent. And as we grow up and we mature, we become, hey, Dad, I'm 14. I'm not a kid anymore, right? Who said that to their parents at some point? Maybe you said it at 12, right? But everybody said that. But at some point, we go and we're like, hey, I'm independent now. Dad and Mom, I don't need you anymore. I'm independent. I'm fully mature. And we know what? That's not maturity at all. But you don't know that at the time. How many of you guys know, I didn't know how smart my dad was until I hit about 40. Right? I thought he was foolish when I was 17 or 18, I guess. I was cool. We think we're independent, we think we're mature, but real maturity comes when we become interdependent, meaning we realize we can go fast alone, but far together. Fast alone, but what? Far together. I can't get my personal goals on my own. I can't become who I want to become. I can't have the impact on this world. I can't be a benefit to others without the help of other people. Would you guys all agree? So that's what we're looking for, interdependence. And I want to make us aware, at dealerships, it's classic, where sales points their finger at service, right, points their finger where? At sales. Now, the sport team's always lovely to everybody, so no. But isn't it true, though? There's a little division sometimes, and think about what we want to do. I know at our dealership, it's not that way. We're a great dealership. We function well together, but we want to even function at a higher level. And I want to tell you, the key to this interdependence is something we call being fully independent, meaning that each one of you has to take personal responsibility for your wherewithal, your skills, and your knowledge, and your attitude, and your actions. In order for us to be interdependent, we need all 81 people to be independent first, don't we? Let me describe what I mean. If we had a band, got a couple guitar players, bass player, a drummer, and a singer, do they all need to know the song? What happens if 4 know the song and the 5th one doesn't? The whole band is ruined, isn't it? So to be fully interdependent, they have to depend on each other. They first have to do what? Be excellent themselves. They have to develop themselves. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. We are interdependent, but to be strong independently, everyone here has to take personal responsibility for who they are, what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. What you do every day and what you say every day ripples into the lives of everybody in this room. Would you guys agree? Does it matter? Of course it matters, right? So I want to go and I want to give you 5 tips on how you can be better today than you were yesterday. They're not earth-shattering, but I'll tell you, they will change a person, they will change a family, they will change a business when we focus on these 5 things. Can everybody see where I'm at? The 5 keys to interpersonal excellence? We're talking about being the change we want to see. Sometimes it's easy to point our fingers. What I want to do right now is point our finger at ourselves and say, I want to do better in these 5 areas. The first one is attitude. What do we mean by attitude? The way you think about things, right? Some people call it a mindset or a belief system. Why is this so important? Well, the way you see things will determine how you act, right? My belief system determines my actions, and my actions repeated determine my results in life. So if I think right, I will what? Well, if I think Cleveland is northwest of here, I'll head what? We'll end up in Cleveland. Nope, I'll be going the wrong direction. I thought wrong, so I acted wrong. I ended up in the wrong city. You guys get my drift? You've got to have the right thinking, the right mindset if you want your actions to fit. The right thinking is knowledge. The right thinking is attitude, right? So attitude is important. Our attitude's contagious. Do they matter? I think a bad attitude's like a disease. It's almost like, the flu this winter, right? Went from one person to what? The next person to the next. I know some salespeople who love to tell every other salesman about the bad things that are happening. Like, let me share my misery. Let me tell you why my life sucks, right? What's happening when we share a bad attitude? It spreads, doesn't it? Same with a good attitude. Guys, do you guys believe attitude changes things? Are you guys affected by other people's attitudes? Yes or no? Yes. Are people affected by your attitude? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, is my attitude positive? Because it's going to be contagious. Is it something I would want to catch? Am I somebody I would want to hang around with? Am I somebody that inspires or somebody who kills and hurts? What is my attitude, right? Does it matter? It matters. Your attitude ripples, right? Second thing, this is simple too. Treating our customers and other employees with love. Now, what do I mean by love? I know love in this society tends to end up on Cinemex. That's not the love we're talking about. What kind of love are we talking about here? Appreciation. Thank you so much. I what? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I what? I appreciate you. Guys, I listened to a salesman greet a customer the other day that was in a dealership for service. Guy says, how can I help you today? Like he's trying to sell him a car. Guy says, I just need service. Oh, it's that way. They're through there. Moved on, right? Is that appreciation? No. What's the proper way to do that? Service? Rock and roll. I could totally help you with that. Come with me. By the way, I'm Dave, and you are? Yeah, well, thanks for doing business here. We appreciate you. Let me take you right back there. Isn't that what we want? True or false? How many of us have done the other in one form or another? Quickly, right? All of us are guilty at one point or another. All we want to do, guys, is examine others, but examine who mostly? Ourselves. Let's be better today than we were yesterday. You know what? Excellence doesn't require perfection, does it? And I can't relive yesterday. I can't unplay yesterday. All I can choose is to be better today. And so what I want to do is have a better attitude, and I want to greet people with thank you and I appreciate you today. I can't unwind yesterday, but I can be better today. All right? What's the third one? Service. I just kind of hinted to it. Services, I can totally what? Help you with that, right? I was at a dealership the other day, and a guy came to the door, and he says, I'm here for a dealer trade. None of the salespeople were there, but I went to the door anyway and let him in. And the guy says, I said, can I help you? He says, yeah, I'm here for a dealer trade. The normal response would be what? I don't work here, man, right? But what I say, I could totally what? Help you with that. No, I couldn't. The truth is, I didn't know what to do. But I could at least do it. I could help you with that. Come with me, and I could at least do what? Guide him to the receptionist, and she could go from there. Same thing happened to Steve in service the other day. Customer, not even it was an off-make car or something, and she didn't know how to use the radio. She goes, I need someone to show me to use the radio. It's like, I can totally help you with that, right? Now, I'm willing to bet that we don't know most of the radios out there, but that didn't mean we weren't going to what? We're going to fix this. We're going to find a way. We're going to jump in and try, and if we can't figure it out, we'll get somebody that what? I can help you with that. How about interdepartmentally, right? I need this car today. I can't get you in. Wouldn't you rather hear, dude, let me help you with that. Let's take a look at the what? Schedule, right? Service comes up and says, hey, I need to know something on this car. Dude, I can't help you. I'm too busy. right? So I can help you with that. Right now I'm in the middle of two things. Can I bring that car to you in a minute? We've got to have an attitude, not just with customers, but with each other of what? I can what? Help you with that. It's a powerful attitude, right, guys? Fourth one, active listening. Raise your hand if you think you're a great listener. Okay, all of us know we're all listening not to understand, but to what? To respond, right? In fact, most of the time we get halfway through the sentence, I'm like, could you shut up already? I got the answer for you. Isn't that what you're kind of waiting for? Especially in service. Customers are telling us their story and we're like, come on already, I got things to do. Sometimes you find yourself talking over another person. Come on, raise your hand if you find yourself talking over another, right? I do. I'm good at it and I still stink at it sometimes, right? Guys, active listening is when we seek to understand the other person. We want to know what they're trying to say, what they are saying, and what they're not saying, right? We want to understand them. Does that matter? Can I tell you this? When people feel understood, they're more likely to want to understand you. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. We wonder why we play ping pong with customers all the time, why we have arguments instead of figure things out. They say, we say, they say, we say, and we go what? Back and forth. The reason is because we haven't taken time to do what? Understand their point of view. Why would they bother to understand my point of view if I haven't done what? Understood theirs, right? And going along with active listening is letting people know that I heard them by using a little technique we call empathy. You know what empathy is? Well, I'll give you this is the old one. I know exactly how you feel. In fact, I felt the same way. That's the formula. Feel, felt, found, right? That's the old formula. You don't have to use those words, but empathy is simply understanding. Dude, I get it, man. I'm with you. I hear you. I can understand why you feel that way. Empathy, though, is not sympathy. Sympathy says, I agree with you, right? Customer comes back and says, I'm not going to, he might be wrong, right? Most customer complaints are 20% facts, 80% what? Emotion. I don't care. They're still my customer. Without a happy customer, what am I? I got nothing without that. So I've got to tell, I'm not going to tell them they're right, but I am going to tell them, I hear you, I understand you, and I can help you with that. You guys follow me? And thank you so much. I think Steve taught me 3 years ago, the best way to diffuse an unhappy customer is tell them, thank you for bringing it to my attention. I appreciate that. A lot of people wouldn't have, right? Can we use all those together? You see how these fit together, guys? Does it matter? Can we do that, not just with other customers, but what about with employees? Right? You with me? Let me ask you guys a question. Looking at these 5 things, attitude, thank you, I appreciate you. I can totally help you with that, right? Listening better. And before responding, letting the person know I heard you with a little technique called empathy. We don't respond with the solution until we tell them what? I understand you, I hear you. Let's take a look at doing it this way, right? Let's figure this out together. Anybody here think they could do any of those 5 better than they're doing them now? Raise your hand if you think you can improve there, right? Right? I think we all could improve there. Let me ask you, how many of you are willing to improve there? Can I tell you, I feel so many people out there believe that people don't care anymore. I hear dealers out there, you can't find people who care anymore. And I'm like, baloney. I think in every one of us is a flame that's burning to be better than we are. Sometimes it's flickering out. People have been stomping on our flame, right? Maybe we've stomped on our flame, but we got a flame there. We want to be better than we are. And tell me the truth, don't you feel better when you're a benefit to somebody else? Doesn't it make you feel better when you go home and you know that you did a great job? Vince Lombardi said it this way. He said, the man's finest hour is when he lays on the field exhausted in victory. In other words, when you give it what? Your all, your best. That has some internal benefit, doesn't it, right? Okay, guys, I want to give you some keys. So you see there's some stuff here at the bottom of this page for you. Habit number 5, that's from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's one of our recommended reading. We cut it right out for you. Talks about seeking first to understand. Can I tell you something about that principle? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Stephen Covey wrote that in the 90s. Who said it 3,000 years ago? This principle has been around for 3,000 years. Who said it? King Solomon said it 3,000 years ago. He who answers a matter before hearing it, it's his folly and his shame. Why am I sharing that with you guys? The principles that we're teaching, the principles that we want to live, have always existed. Stephen Covey didn't make this up in '99. He simply put it on paper. It was created when wisdom was created, and if you read Psalms, wisdom was created at the beginning of everything. The way things are is the way things are. And on the back, I have a lot of these, the way things are. They're called principles. Natural law. Like, let me give you one here, right in the middle. We reap what we sow. Who believes that? We reap what we sow. The more you put into something, the more you get out of it. True? You don't have to be convinced of that. You know it in your own life. You can't harvest 2 fields if you only plant one. You want to harvest 2 fields, you got to plant what? 2 fields. Those are the principles we're talking about, right? They've been around forever. All right. Guys, in the bottom, I want to show you there's some leadership daily success habits. I want to give you some ideas on how do I start living into these things? Well, one of the things you can do is, the reason I made this and made it so it would last, one of the things you could do is look at these things and meditate on these things. I don't mean meditate like some Eastern religious meditation. I mean think about these things in self-examination. How am I doing on these things? Could you not do that? If you don't ever give it consideration, how can you improve? So that's why I made it like this, and you can use those principles. But at the bottom, there's 3 leadership techniques that you can take to become better. Now, do me a favor. Raise your hand if you're a leader in the store. Raise your hand if you're a leader in the store. This is a little hint to do what? Raise your hand, right? Everybody matters. You matter, don't you? What you do matters. How you do it matters. What you say matters, right? The quality of your job determines the ability for other people, the quality to do their job. Would you guys agree? Everything matters. In that case, you are a leader. You have the ability to create excited, loyal, lifetime customers and what? Employees. You have the ability. Now, take charge of yourself with these 3 things. First of all, for attitude, one of the easiest way to develop the right attitude is write down 3 things you're thankful for every day. Does anybody do this practice now? This has been around I've read dozens and dozens of successful people who do this. In the morning when you're having your coffee, if you sit with a piece of paper and you write the things you're thankful for, what do you think your attitude moves to that day? Most people are focused on what? What's wrong instead of what? What's right. You guys with me? This will change your life. Do it for 21 days. And come tell me this has made no impact on my life. It'll be impossible. If you write down 3 things you're thankful for every day, it will change your life. It'll change your mindset. And when your attitude improves, your focus on others improves with it. You improve. Your ability to be a benefit improves. Take charge of your attitude. Here's the problem. Most of us get up, hustle around to get going, get out the door just in time, hurry to work, and when you're in a rush, everybody in front of you is an idiot. You guys agree with that? Nobody else can drive when you're late. True or false? And we get to work just in time, power slide into place, run into work, can't wait for work to be over, leave, and start on what? All over again. What I'm asking you to do is take a few minutes every day in self-examination. How can I be better today? Set a goal today. Who do I want to be today? What impact do I want to make today? Affirmation. Catch 3 people doing things right every day. Is that just for managers? Right? No. This is hard for managers, by the way. They're so busy, they're so overloaded. What managers normally find themselves doing is catching people doing things what? Wrong. That's easy, isn't it? You know that guy. We call him an armchair quarterback on Sunday, sitting on the couch with beer and Cheetos all over his chest, telling the quarterback what he should have done, right? Anybody can see what needs to be done. It's catching people doing things right. Takes a pro, takes somebody focused on other. Find people doing things right. Great job. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. What motivates you more than that? What would motivate you to do a great job again more than great job? Thank you for doing that. Not a whole lot, is there? And if you're motivated by it, so is everybody else. Last one, encourage 3 people a day, right? Okay. Guys, I want to close you with this. I want to read to you this principle of interdependence has been around since the beginning of time. Like the principle of reap and sow, the principle of interdependence, that none of us are as strong as all of us together. The principle that I need you and you need me. I need to be the best I can be so you can be the best you can be. That principle has been around forever. Let's see if anybody recognizes who first wrote this down. This was 2,000 years ago, it was written down. There are different kinds of gifts. There are different kinds of service. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and everyone is the same work. Now to each one is given for the common good, just as the body, though one, has many parts, but all its parts form one body. Now if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I don't belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And the parts we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, then every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. That's the principle of what? Interdependence. You guys know who wrote it? Special credit.
Christ.
Huh? Christ wrote it, and the guy who penned it on paper, the Apostle Paul. It was given to him by God. The Apostle Paul wrote it, having to do with the body of Christ, right? But does that apply here? If one suffers, do we all suffer? If one does an awesome job with the customer, if sales does an awesome job, then service gets to help them, doesn't it? But what if the sales department doesn't do an awesome job? Does the service department ever get to see them? Nope. What if the sales department does an awesome job, but the service department goes through the motion and doesn't impress them? That could affect what? What if the paperwork isn't done right for the car? What could that do? What if the phone isn't answered well? What could that, you guys follow me? Every piece, we are interdependent, guys. Here's what I'm asking you today. First of all, who here feels like they could do a better job being a benefit to their fellow employees and customers? Does anybody feel that way? Okay. And I guess I'll call the question. There's a lot of times I've heard people say, I need to work out, I need to quit smoking, I need to do. We all know what we need to do. The question is, who's going to what? Who's going to do it? So let me ask you this follow-up question. Are you ready? Will you do something starting today? Will you do what it takes to become better? Will you spend some time trying to become better in some of these areas? If you're willing to do that, let me see your hands. Are you willing to do what it takes? Okay. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you very much. Thanks.